Hello, good morning. Another very short video experimenting with uploading on the mobile phone. I'm filming this on my mobile phone, so there may be some wind noise during the day because I've got no microphones, anything like that with the wind muff on. Just an experiment to see if I can get mobile phone footage loaded onto the Mimo app and then uploaded to YouTube as a short film. I'm about 15 miles into a 200-kilometer DIY Audax. I'm attempting my 17th RRtY. That's randonneur around the year. It involves riding a randonneur ride of at least 200 kilometers and upwards every month for 12 months. Today, when I finish, hopefully, will be halfway, the 6th. So I've got the winter months to look forward to. November, December and January. That's what I found in the past to be the hardest. More about that in another video. Okay, I'm just on the outskirts of Maysmore. There's the boundary sign over there. So it's north of Gloucester without actually going into Gloucester itself. And then I'm heading up to a direction change shortly. That'll take us across the border into Worcestershire. And then it's quite a fast ride up to the halfway point, up to Mile 7. I've stopped in this bus shelter for a couple of reasons really. Firstly, I've got no wind muff on the microphone today. I'm just recording off the phone. There's the boundary sign over there. It says, "Welcome to Forest of Dean District, RRtY." I've just done a bit of a grind up on this main road out of Gloucester, and now we're just about to drop down. We really started to build up some momentum, and then we fork off slightly to the right, and then it's a very fast ride up to Mile 7. I used to stop there for a bit of lunch, and then I'll turn round and you would instantly be into a southwesterly headwind and you've lost all your momentum. What I found stopping here is you can keep your momentum going, and actually today when we do that turn and start heading home southwestish, I think it may be beneficial today because there's a northeasterly wind, if that makes sense. So hopefully it may not help us, but I'm hoping it won't hinder us too much. So not the most salubrious place to have a sandwich, but it's sheltered out the wind, and as I said, when we leave here we got some really good momentum heading downhill. It's now 1:45 and I'm at one of my favourite snack stops on this road. Passing through the outskirts, the very fringes of Gloucester, again without going into Gloucester. This is the co-op at, I'm not sure where it is, one of the residential suburbs. Just round the corner, up there a few hundred yards, was a factory and a business that actually makes the undercarriage for the Airbus, and it had one of the bits of undercarriage outside in its car park. That looked quite impressive. So I've just stopped here for a typical cyclist's Audax snack. Cornetto ice cream, apple Danish in there, topping my water up, and I've got a Monster juice drink. And I'm on 75 miles, so that means I've got, what, 50 miles to go. My time allowance for this ride is 14 hours and 15 minutes. So I've said this before, just keep the maths simple. If I leave home at 7 AM, that means I've got till 9:15 tonight. So that means I'm well over halfway, and I've got, if it's coming up to 2 o'clock, I've got 7 1/4 hours, haven't I? So all going well, I'm going to end with about an hour and a bit in hand. Just a brief bit about what happened with my computer recently. My wife went over to a Chromebook several years ago, and even now it starts up within 10 seconds, closes within 10 seconds. It's fantastic. And I said to her, "Can I have your old computer, your old Windows one?" And so I reset that to factory settings, went on the internet once, downloaded the VideoPad editor suite, and that's what I've been editing my videos on the last few years. When I've finished, I just put it onto an external hard drive, transfer it onto my really slow live computer and upload it to YouTube. Well, back in June, I think it's soon after I had my bike stolen, I opened that laptop one day and the hinge broke. The screen just literally went at 45 degrees in my hand, so that finished that off. So I then had to pay again and download the video editor for my live Windows laptop, the really slow one, and that's been nothing but trouble since I loaded that up. So my wife's been kind enough to let me use her Chromebook and practice on it and show me how it works, because really all I want a laptop for really is doing my routes for my cycling and entering DIY Audaxes. Just the system I got, I cannot do that on a mobile phone with all the free mapping software I use. I can see it on a mobile phone, but I can't upload it to Audax UK. So mapping, also some of my financial stuff and my studying as well. I'm an online student, so I just cannot do that on a mobile phone or a tablet. And that's really all I want it for, and it's actually fantastic for that. It really is. So I've just spent yesterday wiping my old Windows laptop back to a factory setting. Even that took about 8 or 9 hours. Just sat in a drawer now, gathering dust. And I'll only ever fire it up as a complete backup in case somehow I need it for an emergency in the near future. Thank you for all the tips about editing on mobile phones and also on the Chromebook. I have downloaded a editing suite onto Chrome, but I am going to persevere trying to do it on the mobile phone, because I did find it a little bit fiddly at first, but so much quicker and easier in the long run. So I am going to try and persevere on the mobile phone doing my YouTube videos. We've just about weaved our way around the outskirts of Gloucester. You can hear the M5 motorway just over there. You've just come up through this kind of a housing estate, and this is what I love seeing up here. This must be ancient common ground. Look, all the sheep come here to graze. I've literally seen the road blocked with sheep before. There's a load over there going up and down people's garden paths and all that. But yeah, I love going through here seeing that. It's coming up to 3:30 in the afternoon. I've just passed through Nailsworth and the two small villages with fantastic names, Stanley Downton and Leonard Stanley. And for the last hour or so, we've been heading towards that Cotswold Ridge, kind of running along the foot of it. But you'll see that sign there off to the right, that's called Foster, and that's what we're going up there, Foster Hill. We're actually going to go up alongside those trees, climb up onto Cotswold Escarpment. If I put a profile of the route on, you'll see it's around about the 100-mile mark. It looks like a volcano. And then we're up there a few miles, and then we drop down into Wootton under Edge. That is quite hard to cycle up. You get some fantastic views halfway up, looking across to the Forest of Dean, across the Severn. But there used to be a Roman road from the Fossway, which was running from Exeter many miles that way, up to Lincoln many miles that way, a few miles away, and then there was a spur off it called Margrave 543. It's not what the Romans called it, it's what more modern historians refer to it as. And that actually left the Fossway at Easton Grey, and then it climbed up onto that ridge, and then it probably dropped down that hill from what is now Nymphsfield picnic site. And some people think it came straight down. The Romans were more likely to have terraced it down like a kind of alpine zigzag down, and then it ran that way. It would cross at 90 degrees the modern day A38, which was the Bristol up to Gloucester Roman road, and then it went up to Arlingham, which is where the Romans crossed the River Severn just south of Gloucester. One of them went forward there until it got washed away in the early 1800s, I believe. Some people believe there may have been a Roman bridge there, other people think there may have been a ferry there, but the general consensus was it was a ford. And that was commodities road really, over in the Forest of Dean, iron and lead probably. So yeah, if you're ever struggling up there, the modern day road is relatively modern. It's the old coaching road from the 1700s. As I said, the Romans literally used to come straight off that, either straight down or more likely kind of zigzag, but very, very steep regardless. So I'm running 2 Garmin's. There's the old 200 there. That's the one I have to put into a computer laptop via a wire. That seems to get through the whole of a 200-kilometre ride without needing charging. This one I top up quite often. There you go, look, it wants to switch off. So I've got it up to 38%. I may need to give that one more charge before we get back to Bath. That is synced to my phone. So the minute I get home, I stop the Garmin, I save the ride. It syncs with the Bluetooth on my phone. And by the time I'm upstairs getting ready to go in the shower, it's actually on Strava, because the phone is synced with Strava as well. So that's what I post my rides on. That is more of a backup than anything really. Right, let's head towards Foster Hill, round about the 100-mile mark, highest point of the ride, and probably the hottest part of the day as well. Let's get going. You may tell from my breath, I've started the hill. The first bit I always find the hardest actually, and then after this bit it kind of goes on forever, but it levels out. But this is a good chance to stop, get a look at the views. You can see the slither of the Severn Estuary there, that big hill right in front of us, almost like a nipple on top of the trees. My mate Richard Clements, who lives very close to here, actually back down in the village of Foster, he told me that what that was once. I can't remember what it's called, but he said it's well worth going to look at. Gather my strength here. That's looking all over at Barclay Power Station, I think. Right, gather my strength here, and then we're going to carry on up here. As I said, it kind of levels out now, goes on an awful long way, and it only really kicks in again steep towards the top. But by then, like mentally, you know you're almost there, so you're okay. I won't stop here too long, it's quite a busy road, but we're just about to drop down off the Cotswolds. See the Severn over there? We're going to drop down really fast now, zigzaggy down into Wootton-under-Edge. A few miles from home, you can see the sun's almost about to set, but the low rays are really emphasising the start of autumn really. The berries, the turning of the trees, look at that, starting to go a bit browny orange. Gosh, you can see all the lights right up on the top of one of the hills outside Bath. That's probably the university. Gosh, they're like floodlights. We're on 122.5 miles. So I'll get to the end of the track, about a mile from my house, and I'll finish off the video there. It's about 10 to 7 now, and I'm back in Bath. Just coming towards the end of the bike track. I'm going to get on the riverbank along there. It's mostly traffic free, back to my house, about a mile. Technically, I've finished the 200 kilometres because I'm on 126.5 miles. 200 kilometres is about 124 and a bit, about 124 and a quarter, but that's the minimum. You must do at least that or over, so I normally add a couple of miles on just to be safe. And also, when you enter a DIY Audax, they ask you to give some controls. So I always use my house as the start and the finish control. And for instance, this morning I did a control at Cambridge after about 50 kilometres. One at Upton on 7, 100 kilometres, and I can't remember where the third one was. It was somewhere on the way back down, being about 150 kilometres. So I won't stop the Garmin until I actually get home, so it'll end up being about 127 miles. About the next video, I was reading an article in a local newspaper online about somewhere where I've passed dozens and dozens and dozens of times, probably well in excess of 100, and I never knew it was there. So I'm going to go and investigate that, and I think it's quite a magical place. And I can't believe I've never spotted it before. So that'll be the next video. And I hope you've enjoyed coming along on this one. Hope I managed to get it uploaded onto YouTube through the phone app. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon.